Hello and welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. Today I'm going to be talking about Tokyo Marui Glocks, Gen 3 versus Gen 4, or more specifically, new gen versus old gen. What I'm always chasing with any kind of gas blowback, anything, and that is recoil. Maximising the amount of recoil that I can get out of a platform. Having seen the videos of the GHKs, and also having seen the price of the GHKs, I'd quite like one, but I'm not going to spend that much money in order to improve my recoil a little bit. So what I did a few years ago was picked up a steel slide for one of my Glocks. So essentially I have a plastic slide on this one, I have an aluminium slide on this one, and I have a steel slide on this one. So the steel is obviously a lot heavier and it's a lot harder to power. So this one has got 150% recoil spring. I believe this is a 120, and this is completely stock. So let's talk about how each of these guns recoils and the potential things that we can learn from what GHK have done. So we'll start off with the plastic slide. So these mags do have purple routers, and it's running green gas as well. So bear in mind this is all stock Tokyo Marui internals on this slide, but it's not going to break because I just know it's not. But it's not going to recoil very much either. Very flat. Not that good. Well, I mean, fine, great for the winter, but as far as like fun to shoot, like not particularly. Let's slip on the low key and just put the same mag back in, and so you can see, still very snappy, but a little bit more recoil. Now let's look at the new generation. So this is a new generation 19. It does actually have a Guns Modify slide on it, which I do think is very nice. It's not showing up very well, but it's okay. It's got a few dings, a few knocks, and it's got, I'm not really a big fan of salient, but it's got some salient sights. Ultimately, it's all about the function, and I wanted some blacked out rear sights with a fibre optic front, and that was what was available, so that's what I got. So let's have a look and see how the new generation handles gas. That's snappier. That's got way better hand feel, even than this 17. So there isn't a huge amount. If I show you the amount of wobble that you get, well, there's not really any, to be perfectly honest. This gun's pretty tight. Again, this one, tiny little bit. Again, it's very tight. But if I fire them together, hopefully you'll be able to see, flat, more recoil, like just a heavier kick. Which leads us on to the steel slide. Now, I've got a couple of steel slides. So I've got this 34, and I've also got this very old 17. But we're going to be talking about this one in a second. I'm going to show you the difference in having a Volante blowback unit in your gun and not having one. So, without further ado, this has, Volante have their own routers that come with the Glocks. So, one's been put in onto this mag. It's just, again, green gas. As you can see, it's that's a lot heavier recoil, but actually as far as like kick, this is way snappier, and it gives you like more hand feel. Like this one will rock your hand, but this one will give you that hand feel. And ultimately, which one is better? Which one do I prefer? Well, I like both, and I really want my guns to be able to do both of these things combined, which looks like what the new GHK can do. But at a £375 price tag, no, it's just not going to happen. Unless I saw one secondhand for £100, then I just would not be interested at all. But there are a couple of things. So they showed some photos of the inside of the slide. And what I thought was really notable was the fact that on all of the Tokyo Marui, WE, Armourers Works, Vorsk, any of the Glocks that you see, they will always have a screw hole in the back here for holding on the rear sights. Now, the real Glock has a dovetail cut, and the sights go in at the side, and they get pressure fitted with a clamp, basically. So you need a special little tool to do it properly. But what that allows them to do is massively increase the size of the nozzle. So as you can see, this is where the rocket valve is, just here, in both of them. So from the rocket valve to the back there is, I don't know, maybe an inch or so. You're almost doubling the amount of length in the back there. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, how are you gonna, hold the blowback unit in? And I think it could be done with a couple of screws either side. I don't know. Ultimately, I'm not an engineer. Like, this is not my job. I just think about these things. I think about what the potential is. So as you can see, yeah, there's just absolutely loads of room in the back here. And that is what GHK have done. That's what they've utilised. But from what I've seen, I don't think the system's that good. It uses a bunch of very small springs and things like that. I can't speak firsthand. I've not got hands-on with one. I've not shot one or anything. But what it made me think about was this Volante blowback unit that I've already got. So this, again, as you can see, they might have gone with a larger nozzle, and it's also a two-stage nozzle as well. So if I push it forward, or try to, you see there's that second part that moves. So the whole lot will come out, and then that second part will move even further by itself. What that allows the gun to do is it means that the nozzle stays in the barrel for the maximum amount of time, and instead of the gun slowly kind of rocking backwards, and even with 150% spring, it might get to about here and then go forward again, so you wouldn't get the full cycle. If that nozzle stays engaged, it pushes all the way to the back until the nozzle disengages, and then it will go forward again. That's one of the keys to the Volante system, but they're still making that same mistake. So they're still not utilising all of this space at the back. And I've seen the nozzle that they're using in the GHK, and it's basically an M4 nozzle. And I don't see why that couldn't be done for a Tokyo Marui style of Glock. Now, it may involve coming out with a proprietary slide or something like that, but this could potentially be an aluminium or a steel slide kit with with a replaceable, I don't know if you can fit an MWS nozzle in here. Let me just have a quick look in my spares box. So you can see it's right here, and it should be teeming with nozzles. Let's have a quick look and see if one would actually fit. Obviously, you wouldn't necessarily have to be using an MWS nozzle, but that ain't far off. I've tried to line them up at the back here, so it's still just within. So it'll probably have to sit there. But ultimately, that's not a huge difference there. If you're anything like me, then I'm trying to think of a way that I can do this myself. I know that it will basically be impossible for me to do, but I don't know. If I'm thinking about it and people are talking about it, then I don't see why someone like Volante, who have already come out with, they're obviously interested in extra recoil, but maybe they've just missed a bit of a trick. And hopefully they can find some inspiration in what GHK have done and adapt this heavy recoil system for a Tokyo Marui style gun. I'm quite excited. I think it could be, it could be really good. Something really fun could come of it. So I did say that I would also let's get this stuff out. Quickly run this other steel slide. So let me just put some bits into it. So this was one of the first steel slides that I ever picked up, and it was a Garda, and of course maybe a slightly heavier recoil spring in there would have been good. Okay, some gas in here. Yeah, ultimately though, you can see that it's really not, just put a slightly newer mag in. See, it's just not got the power. But if I quickly switch back to the even heavier slide of the 34, making the most of that Volante, see, way better, locked back. But yeah, maybe could do better. Maybe that they could make a blowback housing as well. Maybe just use an M4 style nozzle, or maybe an MP5, or just a slightly bigger nozzle in there. But also, utilize that space at the back. Make it CO2 ready as well. Why not? If we're gonna go there. But I don't know. I'm excited. It's just some thoughts, guys. Just some thoughts. I'd be really intrigued to see what you guys think. Yeah. Okay. That's all. Until the next time, guys. Take care.